The old clock tower struck midnight as rain began to weep on the city's skin. Outside Daria's window, 1,000 silver threads stitched the sky to the sleeping earth. Each drop a tiny drum on the glass. She pressed her palm against the cold pane, watching her breath fog the world into a watercolor dream. Her reflection, a ghost in a rain-streaked mirror, lonely and waiting. Before we begin, dear listener, take a gentle moment to like this story. If it soothes you, subscribe to the channel for more nightly journeys, and let us know in the soft-lit comments where you're listening from tonight. A whispered name of a town, a city, a village tucked in hills. We'll imagine you there, nestled in the dark. As we begin, now, settle deeper into your pillow. Let its embrace hold you. Breathe in slowly through your nose, filling your lungs like sails, catching a quiet wind. Breathe out through your mouth, releasing the day, the worries, the weight. Feel your toes softening like sand kissed by a receding wave. Your ankles, loose pebbles, sinking into warm earth. Your knees, heavy petals, drooping after gentle rain. Now your spine, a river flowing into a calm delta. Shoulders unclenching like fists, opening to release captured moths. Your neck, a bridge between worlds, melting into mist. Your jaw, your temples, your eyelids, featherlight, resting on silence. Listen to the rain inside your mind, a steady hush, like a mother humming in the next room. The rhythm of your breath, tides in a moonlit cove. You are safe. You are held. You are drifting on a boat of stillness. Daria's room smelled of damp paper and lavender. Her desk, a landscape of unfinished poems and wilted roses in a chipped vase. She traced a raindrop's path down the window, a liquid wanderer seeking refuge in the sill's wood. Tap, 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 a sound, not rain, but softer, delicate, like a fingernail brushing crystal. She leaned closer, forehead cool against the glass. Outside, in the dim glow of a street lamp's halo, a small creature stood shimmering, wings like wet maple seeds glistened on its back. Its body, no larger than a sparrow, was woven from moss and twilight. It held a dandelion stem as a walking staff and tapped once more against her window. Tap. Daria's heart fluttered, a caged bird. She eased open the sash, letting in a gust of rain-scented air. The creature tilted its acorn cap head, eyes like dewdrops, gleaming, lost. It whispered, a sound like ferns unfurling. The moon pool is fading. Daria blinked. Who are you? Thistle, keeper of rain songs. It extended a twig-thin hand. The city of dripping dreams needs you. A faint light pulsed in Thistle's chest, amber and anxious. Why me? Daria breathed before Thistle answered. A shadow, darker than storm clouds, slithered over the rooftops. Silent, hungry, it swallowed the street lamp's glow. Thistle's wings buzzed in alarm. No time. They followed. Daria reached, her hand trembling, into the rain. Thistle leaped onto her palm, light as a snowflake. The shadow pulled beneath her window, rising into a shape with hollow eyes and fingers like smoke. Close it, Thistle urged. Now. Daria slammed the window shut just as the shadow slammed against it with a sound like cracking ice. The glass held but a hairline fracture spidered across the pane. Thistle huddled in Daria's cupped hands, glowing faintly like a dying ember. Listen, it murmured. The fracture is a door. If you know how to open it. Daria stared at the crack where the shadow still pressed a formless face against the glass. Rain trickled through the split, a single drop landing on her wrist. It did not feel like water, but like a key made of cold starlight. Thistle's voice frayed to a thread. We must go before the ink drinker shatters the veil. Daria touched the raindrop key on her skin. It shimmered, then dissolved into her veins. A chill map unfolding beneath her bones. The crack in the glass began to glow softly blue. Beyond it, she saw not her rainy street, but a bridge of woven roots arching over a river of liquid moonlight. The shadow, the ink drinker, hissed and pressed closer, its form blurring the boundary between glass and gloom. Thistle trembled. One step across the threshold, and the dream begins. Daria lifted a fingertip toward the fractured light. The glass sighed like thin ice about to break. Her room flickered, candle to shadow, shadow to mist. She took a breath and reached into the glowing crack. Daria's fingertip brushed the glowing fracture. Cold bloomed up her arm like ivy made of winter. The glass did not cut, but dissolved into liquid light, pulling her forward into a sighing mist. Her bedroom, her desk, her wilted roses, all melted like sugar in warm tea. Only Thistle remained, clinging to her collar, a shivering ember against her neck. They stood on a bridge of ancient roots, twisted into living arches. Below, a river flowed, not water, but liquid moonlight, silver and slow, carrying whispers of half-remembered lullabies. The air tasted of petrichor and forgotten promises. Soft rain fell upwards from the river's surface, kissing their faces before vanishing into a sky stitched from violet twilight and drowsy stars. The city, murmured Thistle, pointing with a twig finger across the bridge, rising from banks of luminous moss, stood the city of dripping dreams. Towers, spun from solidified fog, glistened under eternal dusk. Windows were puddles of captured starlight, reflecting impossible constellations. Rooftops sagged like sleepy eyelids, catching raindrops that chimed as they fell into streets paved with smooth singing stones. No people walked those winding lanes, but shadows moved within the mist walls, graceful and slow, like dancers behind silk screens. Their footsteps echoed as soft as moth wings brushing velvet. Daria breathed. It's beautiful. Thistles glow, dimmed, beautiful, but bleeding. The small creature gestured toward the city's heart, a spire taller than the rest, pulsed with a weak amber light, like a fading heartbeat. The moon pool lies there. Its light feeds the city, the rain, the dreams, but the ink drinker siphons its essence through cracks in the veil. As they stepped onto the singing stones, the city awoke. Around them, a doorway of woven willow branches swayed open, revealing a courtyard filled with floating lanterns shaped like jellyfish, their soft bioluminescence cast shifting aquamarine patterns on walls that wept silver tears. A figure emerged from the weeping mist, tall, slender, wrapped in robes of iridescent moss and river reeds. Her hair was a cascade of black water flowing over shoulders like a midnight waterfall. Eyes deep as deep wells held ancient sorrow. Thistle, the figure spoke, a voice like stones, smooth in a brook. You brought the rain-touched one. Thistle bowed. Elder Neri, keeper of tears. This is Daria. She holds the raindrop key within her. Neri's gaze settled on Daria, heavy and knowing. You feel the city's ache, don't you? Daria placed a hand over her heart. A dull throb resonated beneath her ribs, echoing the spire's weak pulse. It feels like loneliness. Neri nodded. The moon pool is the wellspring of shared dreams. The ink drinker feeds on solitude, on forgotten hopes. It gnaws at the veil between your world and ours, draining the pool's light, She gestured toward a mural on the courtyard wall. It shimmered, showing a dark stain like spilled ink, spreading across a tapestry of stars. Each shadow it consumes in your world becomes a poison here. Neri led them deeper into the city, along canals where boats carved from moonbeam drifted untethered, their path wound past gardens where flowers bloomed from drops of rain, opening to release tiny chimes into the air. Suddenly, Thistle stiffened. Hush! The gentle chimes faltered. The singing stones beneath their feet grew silent. A patch of unnatural darkness spilled from an alley like oil on water. It thickened, coalescing into a shifting form with tendrils of pure void that lashed soundlessly at the mist. Not the drinker, Thistle whispered urgently. Its spawn, a gloomling. The creature had no eyes, only a hungry absence. It flowed toward them, draining the light from the jellyfish lanterns, leaving cold voids in its wake. Neri raised a reed-thin hand. A single tear welled in her deep well eye. She caught it on her fingertip. It shone like a captured star. Daria, Neri murmured, the key in your veins is made of starlight and rain. Call it. Panic fluttered in Daria's throat. How? The gloomling oozed closer. The air turned frigid. Her breath plumed in sudden frost. She closed her eyes, remembering the raindrop on her wrist, the cold map beneath her bones. She focused on the ache in her heart, the city's loneliness, her own, left behind in a rain-streaked room. Come, she thought, not a word, but a feeling like opening a window into a storm. A faint silver light responded deep within her. It traveled up her arm, pooling in her palm, cool and humming like a sleeping bee. She opened her hand The light shaped itself into a key, ethereal, woven from moonbeams and falling rain. The gloomling hesitated, recoiling from the key's gentle radiance. Nary flicked her tear toward the key. The tear merged with the light, amplifying it into a soft silver sun. The gloomling shrieked, a soundless vibration that shattered a nearby window puddle. It writhed, dissolving like smoke in a sudden breeze, leaving behind only a stain like wet ash on the singing stones. Silence returned, but heavier. The jellyfish lanterns drifted lower, their light subdued. Thistle trembled. The drinker felt that Nary's face was grave. The key is awakened, but it is a beacon too. She looked toward the fading spire. The path to the moon pool lies through the whispering gallery, but the gallery is guarded by echoes of what we lose when dreams fade. She touched Daria's shoulder. Your loneliness drew the key, but the gallery will use it against you. It mirrors the heart's hidden sorrows. Daria clenched her hand. The key's light faded, leaving only a cool tingling. What echoes? Before Nary answered, the ground quivered, a low groan, like stone dreaming of falling, rumbled from deep beneath. The city, high above, in the fading spire, the amber pulse flickered wildly, once, twice, then went dark. A collective sigh rose from the mist walls, a sound of profound weariness. Thistle gasped. The pool, it's guttering. Nary's eyes widened in true fear. The drinker has breached the inner sanctum. It feeds directly. Now she pointed a trembling finger toward a vast carved archway hidden behind a curtain of weeping vines. The whispering gallery is there. You must hurry before the light dies completely. and the city dissolves into ink and silence. Daria looked at the dark archway. Vines, like skeletal fingers, parted slightly, revealing only impenetrable velvet blackness. Within, she felt not fear, but a profound sadness, waiting a single liquid note, like a tear hitting still water, echoed from the blackness. It sounded strangely like her mother's voice, singing a lullaby half remembered from childhood, a voice lost years ago. Thistle nudged her hand. The echoes begin. Daria took one step toward the weeping vines. The air before the arch shimmered like a heat haze. For a heartbeat, she saw not darkness, but a familiar rain-streaked window and her own reflection, small and impossibly alone. The vision vanished. The gallery yawned before her, silent and deep. She took another breath. The key in her veins hummed a warning or a welcome. She stepped through the curtain of vines into the breath of the echoes. The weeping vines fell closed behind Daria like a curtain of finality. Silence, thicker than fog, filled the whispering gallery. No light penetrated the velvet blackness, only the cool tingling of the raindrop key in her veins reminded her she was still real. Thistle, a faint ember on her shoulder, quivered. Echoes are not sounds. Hear his voice, a moth's wing brushing stone. They are breaths of what was lost. Daria took a step forward. Her foot met not stone, but something soft and yielding, like moss over memory. A scent drifted through the dark, honeysuckle and sun-warmed linen, her mother's apron on a summer day, long dissolved into time. Then warmth against her cheek, a phantom hand brushing her hair, gentle as dandelion silk. Hush now, little raindrop. The voice wasn't heard, but felt in the marrow of her bones. Her mother's lullaby, woven from starlight and safety. Daria froze. The ache in her chest blossomed into a thorned rose. It's not real. Real? Thistle murmured sadly. In this place, the ache is the echo. The love was real. The loss is the shadow it casts. The darkness shifted. A scene unfolded like ink spilling in clear water. Daria stood, not in the gallery, but in her childhood kitchen. Sunlight streamed through lace curtains. Dust motes danced in golden beams. Her mother stood at the stove, humming, stirring a pot of plum jam. The air sweet and sticky. Young Daria, no taller than the table, clutched a crayon drawing. Look, Mama, a dragon. For you. Her mother turned, smiling, eyes crinkling like well-loved paper. She took the drawing. Beautiful, my brave knight. She pressed a kiss to Daria's forehead, warm as baked bread. The memory was perfect, down to the chipped blue mug on the counter. Yet, at its edges, the scene frayed like old cloth. Darkness seeped in. The sunlight dimmed. The hum faltered. Her mother's smile flickered into something strained, tired. A shadow deepened beneath her eyes. Daria knew this was the summer before the silence came, before the hospital rooms, the hushed voices, the empty chair at the table. Don't, Daria whispered to the darkness. Don't show me what faded. But the gallery breathed. The memory rippled. The kitchen dissolved, leaving only the hospital bed. Small, in a white room, her mother, frail as a dried leaf, holding Daria's hand with fading strength. Be my brave knight. Still, the whisper, a rustle, of autumn leaves, even when the rain feels cold, the echo of that final breath hung in the gallery, a tangible thing, cold and hollow. It pressed against Daria, threatening to pull her into its vacuum of silence. Thistle's light flickered urgently. Daria, the key. Remember, the key. It holds the rain, not just the cold. Daria gasped. Tears, hot and silent, traced her cheeks. She focused past the crushing loneliness to the cool map inside her, the raindrop key. It wasn't just starlight. It was the rhythm of the storm, the persistence of water shaping stone. She closed her eyes against the hospital echo. Instead, she summoned the feeling of her mother's hand in hers, not at the end, but in the kitchen, warm and strong, the smell of plum jam, the sound of humming a single silver note sang from her palm. The key's light pulsed softly, pushing back the oppressive memory shadow. The hospital room, fragmented like shattered ice. It didn't vanish, but receded into the gallery's walls. A dark panel in a tapestry of sorrow, acknowledged but not consuming. The path revealed itself not as light, but as a subtle shift in the air, a cool current carrying the faintest chime. They walked deeper, Daria steeling herself against the gallery's breath. Other echoes brushed against her, a lost lullaby. Thistles, a melody for rain that would never fall again on a forgotten forest. Nares, a tear for a river dried to dust before she became keeper. Each sorrow a cold stone in the dark, but Daria held her key light, a small, steady beacon. It didn't banish the echoes, but allowed passage through them. Her loneliness no longer a weapon for the gallery, but a thread connecting her to every aching heart that breathed within it. The air began to change. The crushing silence lifted slightly, replaced by a distant, liquid murmur. The moon pool calling weakly ahead, a faint amber glow filtered through a final curtain of darkness. The end of the gallery. Relief washed over Daria. She quickened her step. Thistle tensed. Wait. The deepest echo often waits at the threshold. Too late. The ground beneath her softened like wet paper. The gallery walls rippled, forming not a memory, but a reflection. Daria stood, not in the gallery, but back in her rain-streaked bedroom, her adult self staring at the window where it all began. But this reflection was different. Hollow-eyed, shoulders slumped under invisible weight. The desk overflowed with wilted poems. The vase held only dead stems. No thistle, no key light, no wonder, only the relentless drum of rain on glass and the crushing certainty of solitude stretching into an endless gray horizon. This was the echo of a future unchosen, a life where the crack never opened, where the loneliness consumed, where she became a ghost in her own rain-streaked mirror. The vision didn't attack. It simply existed, a silent accusation, or perhaps a warning. Daria's breath hitched, the key light in her hand flickered, threatening to go out. This sorrow wasn't past. It was possible. Thistle's voice cut through the chilling vision, a tiny spark of defiance. Look at your hand. Daria glanced down. In the reflection, her other self clutched nothing but in her hand, the real hand, reaching toward the amber glow. The silver key still pulsed softly Steadily, the raindrop key wasn't just starlight and rain. It was choice. She took one last step through the reflection, the image of the hollow woman shattered like thin ice. Underfoot, she emerged from the gallery into a vast cavern. Before her, on a dais of weeping stone, lay the moon pool, but it was not what she expected. The cavern breathed with the slow, labored rhythm of a dying star. The air, thick and cool, carried the scent of ozone, and deep earth mingled with something sweetly decaying, like forgotten fruit in a cellar. Before Daria, the moon pool was not a basin of shimmering water, but a vast wound in the living stone. Its edges were jagged like broken teeth, weeping a viscous silver fluid that gathered in shallow, luminescent puddles. Below, across its surface, the promised amber light flickered, erratic, desperate as a candle in a gale. It pulsed, not from within, but struggled beneath a thick, swirling skin of darkness, like oil on troubled water. The shadow coiled and pulsed, drinking the feeble light with every contraction. This was the ink drinker, not a beast with shape, but the absence itself, feeding from the heart of the dream. Daria's heart sank. How? The word, a dry leaf, crumbling on her tongue. She looked for thistle, for guidance, but her shoulder was bare. Only a faint warmth lingered where he'd perched. Panic, a cold spider, scurried up her spine. Thistle, her whisper, vanished into the cavern's heavy sigh. Then a tiny spark caught her eye, not on her, but in her, within the cool map of the raindrop key, deep in her veins. A familiar amber pulse flickered weakly, answering The pool's dying light. Thistle was inside. The key, his essence, fused with the magic he'd led her to wield. A final, fragile anchor. The drinker, his voice, was thinner now, a thread of thought spun directly into her mind, is not an invader, but a part of the dream. Turned, hungry, Daria stepped closer to the pool's edge. The singing stones here were silent, cracked, and stained with the inky residue. The closer she got, the stronger the pull of profound emptiness, a vacuum sucking at her hope. She knelt on the cool, damp stone, peering into the pool's tormented surface. Beneath the oily swirl, in the brief flashes of amber, she saw not water, but shifting, fractured images. A child laughing under a silver rain in a city square. The laughter silent, fading as the image shattered into dark shards. An old tree weeping, sap like liquid gold, its branches heavy with glowing fruit. Then the fruit wrinkling, blackening, falling into nothingness. A library of living bark where stories glowed on the walls. The light dimming, pages turning to ash. Each scene a fragment of a dream sustained by the pool, now being devoured. It feeds. Thistle's thought was fading on the loneliness, seeping through the veil from your world. It grew in the pool's own shadow. The drinker wasn't just stealing light, it was consuming the very substance of shared joy, of comfort, of connection, leaving behind only the hollow ache it thrived on. Daria lifted her hand. The raindrop key responded, its silver light spilling from her palm. It touched the oily surface of the pool, a hiss like steam on ice. The shadow recoiled, writhing, forming a momentary vortex of pure void. Around her beam of light, for an instant, the amber glow beneath flared brighter, a wave of warmth and profound sadness washed over Daria. It wasn't heat, but emotion, pure and ancient. The pool wasn't just a thing, it was sentient and suffering. Images flooded her, not visually, but as feelings. The joy of 1,000 sleeping children, soothed by rain sounds, the comfort of a lonely soul, finding solace in a story, the shared sigh of a city falling asleep under a blanket of stars. Then the sharp sting of forgotten dreams, the gnawing void of isolation, the bitter taste of hopes left to wither. The drinker was made of this, amplified 1,000-fold. It needs not destruction. Thistle's thought was a dying ember, but remembrance, connection. The key is a bridge, not a blade. Understanding dawned, cold and clear. The raindrop key within her was forged from her own acknowledged loneliness. It wasn't meant to fight the shadow, but to reconnect the severed threads. She couldn't destroy the drinker without destroying a part of the pool itself. The shadow was the pool's own neglected pain, its fear of being forgotten. Daria closed her eyes. She stopped pushing the key's light against the shadow. Instead, she let it flow through her, a conduit, not a weapon. She focused not on the cavern, but on the rain falling on her window. Back home, the sound, a lullaby. She remembered the warmth of her mother's imagined hand in the gallery, the fragile hope in Elder Nary's deep well eyes, the chime of the rain blossoms in the city. She gathered these fragments of connection, not grand, but real. She poured them into the key light, letting it become a gentle silver rain within her, falling not onto the pool's surface, but into her own heart, then flowing outward through the light. The beam changed, no longer a lance, but a shimmering cascade of liquid starlight. It fell onto the oily shadow. This time there was no hiss. The shadow quivered like disturbed mercury. It didn't recoil, but seemed to drink the falling light. The inky swirls slowed their frantic dance. For a moment they thinned, revealing more of the struggling amber beneath. A single warm amber tear welled up from the pool's center. Through the thinning shadow, it rose slowly, like a bubble of captured sunlight, and drifted towards Daria. As it neared, the light from her hand, it burst softly, releasing not liquid, but a feeling, a profound gratitude mixed with ancient weariness and a plea, wordless but clear. More, but the effort exhausted her. The silver cascade flickered, the shadow thickened instantly, coiling tighter around the amber light, which dimmed further. Daria slumped, her energy drained, the connection faltering. It's not enough, she gasped. The cavern seemed to press closer. The dringer's hunger, a palpable weight. Thistle's presence within the key stirred a final, fierce spark. One heart remembers, but the pool feeds on many. His thought was barely a sigh. The veil is thin here at the source. Reach not just within, but out to them, the listeners, the dreamers, in their own rain-streaked rooms, scattered across the waking world. Their loneliness, their hopes, their need for solace in the rain. Could the key, a bridge woven from starlight and her own sorrow, truly reach that far? The pool gave another weak pulse, a final, desperate gleam in the dark. Daria closed her eyes, not in defeat, but in focus. She poured every ounce of her fading will into the key, not to shine, but to listen, to feel beyond the cavern, beyond the city, beyond the veil, into the vast, quiet darkness where others lay awake, listening to the rain or the silence, needing a story, a dream, a connection. She opened her heart, not to send, but to receive the breath of 1,000 sleeping souls. The cavern held its breath. The silver light from her hand flickered once and then went out. Darkness, absolute, swallowed the cavern, the silence that followed. Daria's light, extinguishing, was not empty, but thick, like held breath. The pool's amber pulse ceased entirely, leaving only the cold, hungry presence of the ink drinker, coiling tighter in victorious absorption. Daria knelt on the weeping stone, exhausted, her hand still outstretched toward the void where the pool had struggled. Thistle's presence within her veins was a ghost of warmth, fading fast. Had she failed? Had the bridge she tried to build collapsed into nothing? Then a single point of light, not amber, not silver, but soft, buttercup yellow. It appeared far above, in the cavern's infinite black ceiling, like the first star piercing a twilight sky. Pop, a sound gentle as a soap bubble bursting. Then another light, warm rose bloomed beside it. Pop, and another sea glass green. Pop, not from above, but within the darkness all around her. Lights began to appear, tiny, distant, fragile as dandelion seeds caught in an updraft. Pop, 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 pop. Hundreds, then thousands of pinpricks igniting in the void, each a different hue: soft gold, dusty lavender, riverstone gray, sunset coral. They drifted, swayed, gathered like fireflies in a summer meadow. No, not fireflies. Heartbeats. The listeners, the dreamers, in their beds, their quiet rooms, scattered across hills, cities, coasts, their need for solace, their shared loneliness, their quiet hopes, answered Daria's silent call across the thinning veil. The raindrop key within her had not been a beacon to shine, but a tuning fork to resonate. And now it hummed a low, vibrant thrum in her bones as it connected to each distant, fragile light. The lights drifted downward, drawn toward the wounded moon pool. They touched the thick, oily surface of the ink drinker. No hiss. This time, the shadow quivered like disturbed silk. The lights did not fight, did not burn. They simply merged where yellow touched shadow. The darkness lightened to warm honey where rose kissed the swirl. It blushed like dawn where green brushed the void. It softened to moss after rain. The drinker was not destroyed. It was transformed. Its hunger, its emptiness, filled not with light to consume, but with connection to hold. The shared sorrow that birthed it, washed in the gentle tide of 1,000 understanding hearts, became compassion. The thick, viscous skin over the pool thinned, cleared like ink, dissolving in clear water, revealing not oil, but a mosaic of liquid light, swirling amber and silver, and the soft colors of distant dreams. Beneath, the moon pool stirred a deep, resonant hum, rose from its core like the lowest note of a cello, warmed in sunlight. The jagged edges of the stone wound began to knit slowly, smoothly, sealed by threads of living starlight. The amber glow deep within swelled, steady, strong, pulsing like a newborn star. Its light, pure and warm, spilled upwards through the transformed, prismatic surface, filling the cavern with a gentle, radiant dawn. The weeping stones stopped crying. Their dampness glistened like dew on fresh grass. High above, in the spire, visible now through a rent in the cavern roof, a beacon of restored amber blazed once more into the violet twilight of the city of dripping dreams. A warmth brushed Daria's shoulder, light, not from the pool, but familiar, amber and green, coalesced beside her. Thistle, whole, vibrant, his wings shimmering like dragonfly glass, his acorn cap tilted, dewdrop eyes shining with unspoken gratitude. The bridge, he whispered, his voice clear as a mountain spring holds. Daria smiled, a true smile that reached her tired eyes. The ache in her chest was still there, but it felt lighter, woven now into something larger, softer. It was never just me. Neri, Elder Neri, appeared at the cavern entrance, her robes of iridescent moss glowing with renewed life. Tears glittered on her cheeks, but they were tears of relief, tears that sparkled like diamonds as they fell into the restored pool, vanishing into its depths with soft, musical plinks. The rain songs Neri murmured, lifting her face. They return from the city above, drifting down through the rent came the sound, not of sadness, but of gentle chimes. The rain blossoms opening their music, clearer, sweeter than before, a lullaby woven from gratitude and peace. Thistle fluttered onto Daria's open palm. The veil mends. He nodded toward the far wall of the cavern, a section of solid stone shimmered like heat haze, revealing not roots or moonlight, but the familiar rain-streaked window of her bedroom. The crack in the glass was gone, only clear, wet panes reflecting the soft glow of her desk lamp. Waited its time, Thistle said. Softly, Daria felt no urgency, only a deep, settling calm. She looked at the pool, now a mirror of swirling, living light. She looked at the 1,000 drifting heart lights beginning to fade gently like embers, cooling as their dreamers slipped into deeper sleep, carrying the city's restored song back into their own resting minds. Thank you, she whispered to the lights, to the pool, to Thistle and Nary. The words were simple, but carried the weight of worlds. She stepped toward the shimmering portal. Thistle lifted from her palm, hovering for a moment before her. Remember, he chimed, the rain on your window is never just rain. It's a thread in the tapestry, connecting all dreaming hearts. He touched her forehead with a twig finger. A spark of warm amber flared, then settled inside her. A quiet, constant glow. Then he turned a tiny, bright sentinel and flew toward Nary, melting into the restored amber light. Daria took one last breath of petrichor and deep earth and walked through the shimmering stone. She stood in her room. The rain still fell, tap tap on the glass, the same sound, yet utterly different. A comfort, a lullaby, a reminder of connection. The desk, the poems, the vase, even the wilted roses looked the same. But she felt different. The hollow ache of loneliness was still present, but it no longer consumed. It was a space within her, now filled with the quiet hum of the moon pool and the echo of 1,000 distant heartbeats, dreaming peacefully. She touched the cool glass where the crack had been. Her reflection smiled back softly, a ghost, no longer, but a woman woven into a larger, gentler story. She blew out the desk lamp, leaving only the silver street lamp glow and the rhythmic tap-tap of the rain. She climbed into bed, pulling the covers close. The warmth of thistles' final spark glowed in her chest, steady, calm, as her eyes closed. The last thing she saw was not darkness, but the gentle, drifting dance of 1,000 softly colored lights, carrying her into a dreamless and deeply restful sleep. The city of dripping dreams sings again under eternal twilight. The moon pool, restored by shared heartbeats and remembered connection, flows with liquid starlight. Daria sleeps, her window a clear mirror to the gentle rain, a thread in the vast tapestry of dreaming souls. May her peace become yours, dear listener, as you drift. If this rainy fairy tale eased your mind, helped you breathe, let its gentle magic spread. Tap the like button, a soft ripple in the quiet pond of this channel. Subscribe for more nightly journeys into dreamscapes and whispered wonders. Your support keeps the lanterns lit. Ring the bell to be notified when new stories bloom like moonflowers in the evening, and tell us in the comments below where in the world you're resting tonight. A town, a city, a village under stars. We picture you there, nestled in the dark, part of the quiet, dreaming tapestry. Thank you for listening, for sharing this dream. Sleep deeply now. Let the rain outside your own window become a lullaby. Good night.